Hi, I'm Paul Dayton, and I'm the author of Correcting Our Financial Miseducation, which is available on Amazon.com in paperback. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the New Deal. We have a major problem in this country when the words New Deal are attached to a piece of legislation and the politician is not, sent off in a ship to, nowhere or something equivalent. In a matter of fact, it's popular. So we have a massive misinformation problem about the New Deal, which is the great failure of socialism. One topic I'm going to cover in today's talk is the Roosevelt's gold confiscation. So the United States at that time was still on the gold standard, which meant that the gold could be used as high powered money. High powered money is just another way of saying um, it can be used to create dollars on an exponential basis. So every ounce of gold that the Fed had in its reserves, a certain amount of dollars could be created, which was greater than the value of the gold itself. So, because one of the major problems of the Depression was deflation, because of the Fed, the central planners, that is, which was relatively new, their failure to prevent massive disruptive inflation and deflation, even though it's one of the stated purposes of that institution in their charter. Um, Again, the failure of government, the failure of central planning. So presumably removing the gold could be done to increase the money supply overall. So $75 billion worth of gold was taken out of the hands of its rightful owners, the citizens who possessed it beforehand. Now, the Attorney General of the United States, and this was obviously challenged in court, the government's literally confiscating private property with no compensation in return to the individuals. It violates the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. The Attorney General of the United States, Roosevelt's Attorney General, the number one attorney for the federal government, in court spoke derisively about the supposed inviolability of private contracts. This lack of respect for private property and individual rights is very typical of central planners. Roosevelt, Mao, Castro, Stalin. I mean, any of these people, they have no respect for individuals. They will take from the person in the name of helping the worker and helping the masses. They steal from the masses and concentrate the power and wealth into their own hands. And this is just another in the long line of examples of this kind of behavior. So Roosevelt confiscates $75 billion from people whose private property it was. Now, the GDP, the per capita GDP in 1935 in the United States, when this was happening, was $583. That is the national income divided by the number of people. So it includes like 3-year-olds and small children, people who don't work, But nonetheless, they still needed to eat and needed clothes and shelter and everything. The per capita GDP, so the income divided by the number of people, worked out to less than $600 per person per year. To take $75 billion away from them, the people, was a ton of money in 1935. Uh, Moreover, adding to the sins, once the government, Roosevelt and his Confederates as New Dealers and central planners, once these socialists got their hands on the gold, even though the United States was on the gold standard, the Fed, the Treasury, nobody used it as high-powered money to create more currency. They literally just they hoarded it. They sat on the gold. So it's not as if $75 billion were removed um, from circulation, but $150 trillion were returned, or some greater amount of money, so that it had a net effect of increasing the overall money supply. That's not at all what happened. It just violated people's private property rights. The government basically reached their hands into their pockets, took away their gold, and said, "We're keeping it for ourselves now." Uh, Never forget, hate people who are successful because they're the ones who are making you poor. Typical socialism. For many more details on this episode and the New Deal and many other topics, go to Amazon.com and pick up your copy of Correcting Our Financial Miseducation today. I'm Paul Dayton, and thank you for your time.